Hey there everyone, it's Ed here from Bunch of Swines again. Today we're going to have a look at the way that we like to set up and use a Weber Smoky Mountain. Typical bullet smoker. So this same method will apply whether you're using a Weber Smoky Mountain, a ProQ, or even a Fornetto or something like that, something similar. Whenever you're cooking on a Weber bullet, if you're looking up how to cook on a Weber Smoky Mountain, you will generally come across people talking about the minion method. And what I'm going to talk about today, and maybe a bit controversially, is sort of saying how actually the minion method might not be the best way to go. It's not my preferred route, but we'll talk about what the minion method is, the reasons why I don't actually like it as a cooking method, and actually look at the way that we do, that we set up the Smoky Mountain. So let's have a look. So you can see here I've actually got my fire basket in the Weber Smoky Mountain set up like I would do a minion method. So the idea is that you fill up your charcoal basket, but you leave this gap in the middle, and the idea being that from that you would actually take a chimney starter full of hot coals and dump that into the middle. But the problem that I find with doing that is that it kind of ends up igniting too much charcoal. It's not really very easy to control, and you end up with too big a fire. You can't control the direction of it, and you just end up having to choke back the fire constantly throughout the cook. So what we actually do is we actually just fill the fire basket completely. So just pack it in tightly, and there we go. I don't leave any gaps. The idea being, the way that I'm going to cook on this is I'm actually going to use the air vent on the front. Okay, I've got the air vents on the side fully closed, and I'm going to control all of my airflow and all of the temperature from this air vent right at the front of the cooker. I mean, maybe it's my laziness or whatever, but it just makes it easier rather than trying to reach around the side and fiddle with air vents at the front and the back. Also what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of these woodies, tumbleweed type fire lighters, and I'm just going to push them down right in the front. Okay, the idea being that I'm going to start my fire right in front of where the air vents are. So I'll give that a moment to get going, but basically I'll start layering on some bits that are slightly overhanging, so I start a good flame, a good fire there, get the charcoal lit nicely. And by starting my fire here, this allows me to actually start a smaller fire, a more controlled fire, and on the Weber Smoky Mountain, the air vent, the exhaust on the back of the cooker is actually on the other side. So the idea being that this is naturally going to draw the fire across the fire basket, and I can then control the direction of it. I can predict where it's going to go, so I'll know where to put my wood chunks on, so I can stagger the release of smoke during the cooking and so on. So we'll let this burn away for a few minutes. So one of the things you'll probably notice is when we're filling up the charcoal that we're using for our Weber Smoky Mountain is actually lump wood. I know a lot of people like to use briquettes. I mean, for me, it's just personal preference. I mean, and when we first started barbecuing here in the UK, there wasn't really much in terms of good quality briquettes available. So we kind of just went down the lump wood route, and we've always worked with it. I mean, I find it does add a bit of an extra smokiness into the food as well. So I've kind of stuck with it, and I'm always happy with it. And people question about whether I'll get a long enough burn from it, worrying about having to refill or anything like that. And I mean, this, for what I'm going to cook today, this will be more than enough. And you know, when I've wanted to do bigger cooks, so when I've used this for competitions, you know, I would normally actually just mound it so it would be sticking up a lot higher, just to cram even more charcoal into that fire basket. And you know, I can quite easily get a, you know, a 12-15 hour burn rate out of a Weber Smoky Mountain. So you know, I've never needed briquettes really. So now that the firelighters have stopped flaming, I'm just going to leave the fire exposed to the air a bit more. Basically, I want to get a good solid fistful of hot coals. I want that all burnt through, and then, you know, we'll be ready to put the body of the cooker on and start bringing it up to temperature. So now I can see I've got a nice hot core to the centre here, you know, about a fistful. Yeah, I can see it's catching around the sides, so you know, it's bridging onto the other bits of charcoal. So, you know, that's pretty much lit now. So I'm going to put the body on the smoker. Then we're going to have a quick look at how I set up the water pan, and then we can yeah, wait till it gets to temperature, and we'll put some meat on. So with the water pan on the Weber Smoky Mountain, I mean, what you'll be able to see is all I've done. I don't actually use any water in the pan. I just line it with some tin foil to make it easier to clean. I mean, you can add things like sand, or you could add a clay saucer to the bottom, and you know, we do that occasionally, but I haven't got any of them at home at the moment, so you know, I'm just going to run it with nothing in the water pan, and you know, this will be fine. So, and again, because we don't have a pit thermometer, you know, all I'm going to do is just wedge this bit of tin foil under the handle, okay, and then I'm just going to stab a meat probe through, just so I can monitor the temperature of the smoker more accurately. You know, I mean, this, as you can probably see, this WSM has seen more action than Chuck Norris with the amount of cooks. I mean, we used to use this for contests. I think we got this back in something like 2013, but you know, it's still going strong, still got loads of life in it. And now, you know, this is just going to let me monitor the temperatures accurately. So I'm just going to turn that on. What I'll also do is start the timer, so we can just keep an eye on how long it's all running for throughout the cook. So what we've also done here with our chef alarm is we've actually set a low alarm at 210, a high alarm at 280. So basically, I'm going to be looking for, you know, just to set my temp around about 250 Fahrenheit. Currently, I've got the top vent fully open. You know, currently I've got the top vent fully open, as well as I've got the bottom vent fully open. But you know, we'll as we start getting closer to our target temperature, you know, we'll start closing those down. You know, I'll probably end up running the top vent at around probably about a quarter open, just to sort of make sure that it can't run on any further, and we'll probably close the bottom vent something similar as well. So yeah, we'll keep this going, and we'll check back in a bit. So now that we are getting a bit closer to our target temperature, so we're just coming up to about 225. I want to start backing down the air vents on the Smoky Mountain. This is just to make sure that we don't overshoot, and then I'm not fighting all day to bring that temperature back down. So to do that, all I'm going to do is just really simply close the air vent. I'm probably going to start off about half closed there. I'm also going to close the top vent slightly, again about half closed on each end. So the idea being that that's going to sort of slow down the pace that it's getting up to temperature. You know, I don't want to overshoot. I don't want to get too many coals lit in the bottom of there. You know, these big Weber Smoky Mountains in particular, you know, it's a very big fire basket, so you know, it's quite easy for the fire to get out of control. Hence, we've started it really slowly, bringing that temperature up gradually, and now as we're getting close, we're just starting to throttle it back a bit, and yeah, we should be ready to cook soon. So we're sticking kind of steady around the 225 mark. I'm kind of happy with that. You know, I'm happy to cook on that. you know, it will probably creep up a little bit as the sun comes around anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting my wood chunks on. You know, basically just using 2 chunks, 1 chunk of cherry and 1 chunk of hickory. That's all I'm going to need, you know, and this is going to give me a really good smoke ring going through there. So we're going to have a quick look at how we place this into the fire basket. As you can see here, we have our fire going at the front of the cooker, in front of this air vent, which is great. I know that it's going to naturally push back through the cooker, so this allows me to predict where the fire is going to travel more effectively, so I can then actually stagger where those 2 bits of wood are going to go, so I can just time the release, so I don't end up with a massive smoke bomb. You know, I'm going to have a sustained amount of smoke throughout the cook. So today we're actually going to cook some beef ribs as we've got the cooker going. I've just seasoned these with a bit of Blues Hog Bold and Beefy. I know there's a lot of people out there that, you know, love just a salt, pepper and garlic kind of rub. I mean, that's kind of what the Blues Hog Bold and Beefy is, but with a few extra bits in there that really add to the flavour. So we're going to leave these now. I'm expecting to leave them on the cooker for something in the region of 6 hours, and then, you know, we'll look at wrapping them around that time. But, you know, the main thing is going to be keeping a steady temperature throughout the cook, and then we can go from there. So now that we're getting really close to the target temperature, I'm dialing it in even closer now. So I've got the bottom vents closed to about 1/4 open on the front only. The other 2 side vents are completely closed, and then I've also closed the rear vent to around 1/4 open as well. So, you know, that should sustain us for a good while, and, you know, control it, make sure that it doesn't run out of control. I mean, even if it does overshoot a bit, you know, I've got a few tips and tricks that you know, that I can use if we need to a bit later on. So you can see now, you know, our smoke is running. You know, the wood's starting to catch. We've got you know, a nice steady stream of it coming out the top, not too much. You know, I mean, you will notice with the bullet smokers, you do get a bit of smoke leakage coming out of the rim. I mean, this is absolutely fine. I know a lot of people get worried about it and start trying to fiddle with it and fit felt gaskets and all that type of stuff. It is really not needed. You know, it's just a little bit of smoke getting out of it. It's not going to minimize the smoke ring. You know, you'll see that later. The smoke ring that we'll get in these will be, you know, will be lovely and deep. So, yeah, I'm just going to let this carry on, and, you know, we'll keep checking on it throughout the day. So we're a little under 3 hours into our cook. Well, you know, since we started the timer, we're sitting steady now at 250, you know, around 250 Fahrenheit. So, yeah, that's the temperature I want to cook at. You'll notice now that, you know, all of the smoke has stopped coming out pretty much. So, you know, really, you only need smoke for the initial part of your cook. Basically, once the meat reaches a certain temperature, it stops absorbing it anyway. So, you know, I'm really happy that those smoke chunks will have done their work. We'll have got that flavour into the meat, and now we've just got to keep on cooking it, and, you know, maintain the fire, keep a steady temperature, and we should be ready to wrap a bit later this afternoon. We've just gone over the 4-hour mark since we started our timer. You can see that I'm now running at a pretty consistent around the 250 mark, so 246.7. I mean, you know, I'm not going to get hung up on small decimal places. So again, you know, I'm just sort of going to keep checking in, you know, making sure that the temperature's stable, keeping control on it, and we'll probably take a look at these beef ribs in about an hour or so and see how they're coming along. Our beef ribs have now been on for about 5 hours. I did notice, you know, where we had our timer running for about 6 hours, the temperature had dropped a little bit, so I've now moved the bottom vent open to about halfway open now. What I want to do now, though, you know, as I said, the beef ribs have been on for about 5 hours, so I just want to have a quick check on the temperature of them, see where they are, you know, see how far off I think they are before I need to wrap them. So I'm just going to open up my the lid off my WSM and just probe them in here. I'm also just going to poke them with my finger just to see what the bark is like. So Okay, I mean these are pretty much good to wrap now. You know, when I'm touching it, I'm not getting the bark come off. The temperature, yeah, they were reading at say about 165 Fahrenheit is an internal temperature. So yeah, I'm gonna, you know, maybe leave them on a little bit longer. But yeah, we'll probably wrap these up. You know, that my initial plan of 6 hours before the wrap, it looks about right. You know, I mean, yeah, you can see we're starting to get a good colour across these. So yeah, I'm gonna let them carry on a little bit longer. My original plan of 6 hours is still holding good. So yeah, we'll come back in a bit and we'll get these wrapped. So while we're waiting for the to wrap the beef ribs, I thought I'd just show you how the fire is travelling. You know, you can see we're going pretty much straight along into the fire basket. I've still got loads of unlit coals going around, so you know that's going to be fine for the rest of the cook. I'm not going to have to top this back up. So the beef ribs have been on for a little over 6 hours. We've actually just wrapped them now because I've had the lid open for a bit. You know, it's fed a lot of air into the fire, so it's actually made it overshoot a little where we are. We're not too bad, but you know, I've got the sun glaring down on the cooker now as well, and you know that's all going to add to the heat. So you know, a little tip is you know, just keep some water in a spray bottle, and all I'm going to do is just actually spray the outside of the WSM, okay, and I'll do this all around, and basically this is going to help bring that temperature back down. Okay, so we're back to where we actually want to be. Yeah, I'm just making sure that this isn't going to run away from me. It's whilst I'm off doing other things. So yeah, we're just going to spray this down, try and get the temperature back around that 250 mark. You know, I don't know why they make them in black, but they always seem to, you know, get affected by the heat. It's one of the problems with these, you know, cheaper, thinner smokers is that, yeah, they can be quite affected by the weather. So I'm just going to keep going. You know, I just want to see that drop down to at least like 255, 250. And yeah, we'll just keep going until we get there. See, there we go. We just get below that 255 mark. So yeah, that's better. I'm just gonna leave that as it is now. Yeah, we're just gonna keep an eye on it, make sure again we don't overshoot the temperatures, and yeah, we should be ready to check them. I'll probably check them now that the beef ribs are wrapped. I'll probably check them for tenderness in around, I don't know, maybe 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. But yeah, we'll just keep an eye on it, keep our temperatures steady, and yeah, they'll get done for dinner tonight. So as we can see, I stepped away from it for a while. I was busy doing some work, so I've kind of come back to look at my smoker, and you know, lovely sunny day, but all of that sun is beating down onto the black of the Weber Smoky Mountains. So you know, it's pushed my temperature up a bit, so I'm just going to close the vent slightly, and you know, I'm going to give it another spray down just to help it cool down. Just so we can stick to our, you know, what we're looking at as a, you know, an intended timeline. You know, when you're changing the vents, you know, you just want to make very small changes at a time, but then also give them at least half an hour to settle in, see how it reacts to the change that you've made before you go changing it again. You know, quite often, a lot of the problems that people have in controlling a smoker like this is that they will, you know, it won't react instantly, so they'll then end up making adjustments to the vents again, and you know, it just bounces all over the place rather than, you know, just being a bit patient with it, letting it have a chance to react, and you know, wait for it to come down. So you know, just spraying it as well. This will help cool the smoker down as well. So we're gonna, you know, keep on cooking. I mean, I've got the beef ribs wrapped in foil anyway now, so I'm not too worried about the temperature. I just want it to, you know, try and stay stable as where I had it set. So we're going to leave it for a bit longer, and you know, see how well that temperature comes down. So we just left the WSM to keep on cooking. You know, we finished spraying it down and just close the vent a little bit and just give it some time to bring the temperature down. And you know, we can see it's dipped down now to about 265. You know, I'm okay with that. You know, to be fair, I wouldn't mind. You know, I'm quite happy with it being a bit hotter now that everything's foiled, just to get everything cooked. So you know, I can get it off and rest and eat a bit sooner. So we're just going to keep on going. You know, keep these temperatures steady, and we'll come back and check them in a bit. So our beef ribs have now been on for about 9 hours. You know, we're still running at a steady temperature, sitting just above 250. So you know, I'm pretty happy with that. You know, I'm not gonna faff around with it. Hopefully we're coming towards the end. So what I'm going to do now is actually check these for tenderness, see if they're done, and you know, and have a look at what temperature they're reading at as well. So just going to read the temperature quickly. So we're sitting roughly at about 203. It's you know, I mean, they're close, but I think they do need a bit longer. So you know, my expectation of another 4 hours from when we foiled them looks like it's going to be spot on. So we're going to keep it going. You know, we'll take a look at the fire in a minute, just so you can see how well the coals have burnt. And then, yeah, we'll wait this extra time, and you know, these will be coming off soon. So seeing in the fire basket, you know, we still have a few coals left. You know, it's made its way nicely through the centre, and now it's just burning the bits on the edges. Nothing more for me to do here. This will easily last the length of this cook for the remainder of it. So yeah, we'll shut this back up and just be patient. We are now 10 hours into this cook of the beef ribs. As you can see here, the you know, the temperature of the WSM is still sitting at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. So you know, my fire basket has lasted the whole length of the cook. I've still got a bit of coals left in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to check these beef ribs, make sure they're done, and then I'm going to put some, you know, whilst we leave the beef ribs to rest, I'm going to put some mac and cheese into the smoker to bake. So I'm just probing them just to feel what it's like. You know, they feel really soft. You know, I mean, I'll just take a temperature. Yeah, I mean, we're sitting at about 210 Fahrenheit. So you know, these things are going to be nice and soft and juicy. I'm just going to take the beef ribs off. Okay, we're going to take the short ribs off. Like I said, I'm going to put this mac and cheese on. So we've got it with a bit of a Dorito crust. So that'll go nice with our beef ribs. And yeah, and now all that's left to do is just to open these up, let them vent. You know, stop the cooking process, and then, yeah, you know, once they've rested for probably about half an hour, 40 minutes, we'll cut into them and let's see how they've turned out. So I've just got some gloves on because these are going to be crazy hot for me to handle. So, oh yeah, these are super tender. Got the bones falling out. So there we go. Let's put that back in. Yeah. So you can see there, you know, nice and tender, really soft. I'm going to leave these here to, you know, to basically let the bark harden up a bit. And yeah, we'll let them rest and then we'll cut into them. Okay, our beef ribs have now rested. They've rested probably for about 40 minutes, something like that. Yeah, we're going to have a look at, you know, how these things cut, and obviously how they taste. So let's get the foil open. Oh yeah, you can see we've got beautiful and tender, like stupidly tender. Let's fold that up, just not to make a mess. And then, yeah, just try and Find a gap in between the bones. Oh yeah. And cut through. So, just going to get this one done as well. Oh, I'll cut a bit into the bone. So, there you have it. That's our beautiful beef rib. Might have took 10 hours, but I think, definitely worth it. See, lovely smoke ring that we've got there. I mean, it's dripping in juice. Let's not waste any time. Let's actually, I'm going to have a quick taste on this end piece, this little piece. Oh. Oh, wow. I mean, that's pretty fantastic. Just pulls apart. Yeah, falls apart in your mouth really easy. So, what we've done here, we've got a few little bits to go on the side to serve with our beef ribs tonight. So, this is what we're going to have for our dinner. So, I'm going to stack this giant beef rib here, and then I'm going to add a bit of our mac and cheese next to it. So basically with the mac and cheese we added a bit of diced jalapeno into it, and then some crushed up Doritos on top just to give it some extra texture. It's not going to be a pretty plate, but it's going to be tasty. And then we're just adding a bit of a pico salad on the side just to freshen it all up and add a bit of crunch. So there you go. That's my dinner. I don't know about yours. I'm going to go and enjoy this. We'll come back in a bit and we'll talk through what the things that we've done. So there you have it. That's how we like to set up and use our Weber Smoky Mountain, or any kind of bullet smoker. So if you're using a ProQ or a Fornetto or something of something similar to the Weber, next time you're lighting your coals, maybe give this method a try. As you've seen, in comparison to the minion method, we're able to control the direction of our fire. We're able to predict where it's going, and we've had a long sustained burn, and even looking now, so we're running 11.5 hours since we started the timer, and we're still sitting there steady at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. We did it with a lumpwood charcoal, so in theory you could probably get a bit more of an extended burn time on the briquettes as well. So, but I mean, we've gone 11 hours cooking time. I don't really cook many things that I actually need to go longer than that. We do use the Big K restaurant grade charcoal. It does give us, we've used this stuff for 10 years, and they've been really good to us over the years for supporting us with what we do on competitions. So we've always used it. It's done really well for us. But yeah, hope that's been helpful. As a side note, just to let you know, I did not finish that beef rib. We've got lots of it left, so we'll be having that with tacos and different things like that, omelettes, and that'll keep us going for the next couple of days. But I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked this video, please give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more things from us, give us a subscribe and let us know.